Hello, this is Nick and welcome to my channel. So today I want to share with you the differences between my different black inks. So there are a lot of black inks available for stamping in the market, but these are the ones that I have. So these are the ones that I'll be able to demonstrate to you today. And these I bought locally. So all of them are available here locally, and I will share with you where I got them and how you can buy them. If I remember the price, I will mention it. I cannot promise to give you the exact places where to get them because some of these I've had for quite some time, but I do know some sellers online are selling it. I just don't know if they have like Shopee accounts or Lazada accounts. Most of them I bought off from Facebook. Okay, so let's start. So I wanted to do this so that you can do a side-by-side comparison between the different black inks. I wanted to get more black inks, but these are the most that I could find locally that could be easily accessible. So let's do the big ink pads first. So this one is from National Bookstore. This is the Best Buy brand, which is the local National Bookstore, like generic National Bookstore one. And it's okay as a starter pad. I forgot how much this is. I think it's around 200 bucks, like 175 probably. And I do not recommend using this stamp. Why? Because it's just ugly. I'm sorry. It just doesn't really look that nice in your paper. And then next is Brilliance Archival ink pads. I cannot demonstrate this because my ink dried out already, so the ink is very faint. I haven't bought a re-inker yet, but this one I was able to buy from Scribe. The thing is, when I got it, it's already dried out, and for the longest time I thought that's the effect that the Brilliance Archival inks had, but apparently I was wrong. So it really is dried out, so I'm not sure, probably because it's very old stock from Scribe. So I wouldn't recommend you guys buying this ink from there because it doesn't look like it's selling really quick, so they don't replenish their stocks that much, and it's probably old stock. So mine was really dried out. Like how it stamps now versus when I got it a few years back is the same. It's just really bad quality, and I know a lot of people love this ink. So, and when I see YouTube videos, it's not as dull as my ink pad stamps. So this is also available in some national bookstores, the big ones, or when I say big, it's not the size but more of the big, because its collection is huge. The collection of things that they sell is huge. So for sure, the ones in the metro that are like not really high end, but you know, the bigger ones, like SM Aura, SM Mega Mall probably has it. National Bookstore in Shangri-La probably has it. National Bookstore in probably in the north side, like SM North EDSA and Trinoma probably has it. So the big ones, and the one in Quezon Ave, the main one most likely has it. And then, so since this is carried by National Bookstore, you can also find it in some of their specialty stores. I think for sure there is one in Art Bar. So the only two Art Bar branches that I know of are in Serendra and BGC, and the one in I forgot, the one in Quezon Avenue. I haven't been there, but I know there's a newly opened one, a store opened this year, 2019 there. So you can buy that there. Also, this pad, again, you can also buy this from Scribe. I got this online from a shop called JC's Little Hands, but a lot of sellers are selling this. I bought this off of Facebook from the seller JC's Little Hands. They have a website, but you can also buy this from other online sellers. A lot of people are destashing some of they're like this because some would rather use the smaller ink pads, the teardrop ones. And there, so this is also available in National Bookstore because they are from the same brand. They are from the Tsukineko brand, and National Bookstore carries the Tsukineko brand. You can find Tsukineko in Shopee, but I find that their prices are really high compared to just buying it from National Bookstore or Art Bar or Scribe. Scribe carries this. Scribe carries Tsukineko. National Bookstore carries Tsukineko. So National Bookstore, Scribe, and Art Bar carries Memento inks. Online, I'm sure Jace's Little Hands carries this, and Scrap Happy carries this, or you can check the local distash groups for ink. Some of them sell in the distash groups, but they are brand new. Like Scrap Happy sells in Papi H. We call it Papi H, PAPH. It's a Philippine, I forgot, but it's a Facebook group. I will link to it in the description below if you want to join the group. You can buy it from there. Like, look for sellers selling there, or the Planner Girl Distashers group. I'll also link that down below if some people are selling this, because some folks do buy ink pads and stamps from overseas and sell them locally. I would rather actually buy from those folks, because at least you know that they are like brand new and you're helping someone. Like I would rather, like I always would rather buy from small sellers than the big box stores. Anyway, this one stays on. I got this from, I forgot who I got this from Crafty Lane. I believe Crafty Lane also carries Tsukineko brands, and Craft Carrot probably does too. Crafty Lane has a website, but back then when I bought this, she only has Instagram. So Crafty Lane and Craft Carrot, they probably carry this. They have websites that you can check out. You can use PayPal. So there, stays on. And then, so all these three are archival inks, meaning they would stand fading, or they don't fade over time. Okay, so these are great. The only difference that how you would use them is that Brilliance is great for paper. Both of them is great for paper, but Brilliance tend to have a shimmer, and this one is it's good for embossing. It doesn't dry really quick, so you have like a little time before it dries up, so you can use it for embossing. And this one dries really fast, and also this one is used for, mainly folks use this if they color with alcohol ink, so Copic markers, touch markers, or even Sharpies, which are alcohol based. If you want to color inside the stamped image, use this one, Memento, because it's good for alcohol ink. Brilliance is not. It will this is waterproof. Both of them, all three of them are waterproof, but this one will bleed. This one won't. Stays on is like it stays on. It's like, for you can see here, for every surface, solvent ink pad. This is made from, or the base of this ink is solvent or alcohol, and it smells like your regular alcohol markers. And I swear this one gets everywhere. I mean, not everywhere, but it's not easy to remove. You have a special stays on stamp cleaner to remove this, and I find it hard to remove on anything. So you can stamp it on glass, on anything. So this is very useful, although expect that you will stain your stamps. You can use their ink, their stamp cleaner. There are mixed reviews. Most of the reviews I find online are saying don't use their stamp cleaner on clear stamps because it will dry them out, it will turn them yellow. But I've also seen folks claiming you can do that safely, so do it at your own risk. I, for one, do not use this for my clear stamps anymore. When I discovered that I can't remove them, and I haven't bought the cleaner yet, so I haven't used that. But yeah, so I haven't used this, and this has been with me for 5 years already. It's not dried out, not that dried out yet. And this one I've had for like 4 years. I got them around the same time. I got this first, but this one's really dried out, then I got the Memento one. And then next inks are, so these are ink cubes smaller. These are also Tsukineko brand, Versacolor, Versafine, and Versacraft. There. Let's go to these three first. So this one is this one dries really quick, similar to this one. but this one has really, it captures really fine detail. Like when you stamp with it, it's really really good. But the caveat here is that this one is oil based. It's pigment ink, but it's oil based, and so it leaves an oily ring sometimes around paper. It depends on the paper, but sometimes, most of the time, it does, especially when you wet the paper. And since it's oil based, it has a tendency to bleed through most papers. So next, let's focus on these three ink pads. So these are all Tsukineko, and among the three, this one is the easiest to find. You can find this in National Bookstore and Art Bar and Scribe. The other two, you have to go online, source them, or you have to go to Be Happy or Lasting Impressions to get them. These three you can also get from those stores, by the way. Be Happy is in Paranaque, I believe, and Lasting Impressions is in San Juan. They are brick and mortar stores, crafting stores, and if you go there, you have to be ready because they have so much stuff that is so good for paper crafting or crafting in general. Anyway, so between the three, I love VersaFine only if I'm stamping on a different paper than the one that I'm working on, like on a journal. I'm not stamping on the journal page itself, or if I'm making a card, I'm not stamping on the card itself, although this is more forgiving in cardstock. The reason being, this VersaFine is oil based. So if you can imagine like oil with paper, you know how oil kind of turns a paper a little translucent. So that happens sometimes with VersaFine. If I use this on my journal and I color it, or not, even if I don't color it, since this is oil based, the other side of the paper, the reverse side of the paper, when I write on it using my fountain pen or any pen that has really flowy ink like gel pens or roller balls, it will bleed because the paper absorbed the oil. So it kind of makes it wicks away the ink. So this one I usually use on sticker paper, watercolor paper, or a different paper, and then I'll just stick it to my journal instead of stamping directly on my journal. And then VersaCraft and VersaColor. So these two are really great for paper, so you can both use them on your journal. And I have tape on mine, so it doesn't open really quick. So I leave this at home because I prefer VersaColor versus VersaCraft. Although VersaCraft dries relatively quickly than VersaColor. VersaColor takes a while to dry, like it takes minutes for it to dry. I usually let this sit overnight, or just let it initially dries up on your paper, but if you go over it using something wet, it will still wick away the color. So before coloring anything that I stamp with VersaColor, usually let it rest for 24 hours. Although I don't know how long it should be. It's just like the safe number for me. And also because when I stamp something on my journal, I tend to forget about it until I open it, usually the next day. So there. VersaCraft, you can go over this with water, but again, you should let this dry first. If you're using it on paper, I don't know how long that would be. I think it's just minutes compared to VersaColor. The thing about VersaCraft though is that it's good for porous surfaces like paper, but also fabric and wood. So anything porous, you would want to use VersaCraft. And I think this is also because like when this is brand new, my ink pad isn't brand new or isn't newly re-inked, so the ink is a little dry. But when this ink pad is new, it's like super super juicy. When you load the ink on stamp, it just has so much ink. It's like an ink explosion. If you are heavy-handed, I'm telling you, you have to really have a gentle touch when inking your stamps with VersaCraft and it's new, because there's just so much ink, which kind of makes sense because it's meant for porous surfaces, which is probably why I don't like VersaCraft that much, because I didn't know that back then. I just learned it through experience. So I like VersaColor more. This dries relatively fast, but it's very very wet. This one they both have crisp lines, not as crisp as VersaFine, but still crisp. And this one I love best because for my uses, it's just so perfect. So you can use it for paper. This is made really for paper. and you can emboss with this because the ink doesn't really dry out that fast. So you can stamp an image and then put your embossing powder on it, and it will still the embossing powder will still cling to the ink because it's still a little wet. And then you can also use this for ink blending because it doesn't dry that fast, so you know, you can just blend and blend and blend. So I love using Versacolor for journaling. And then next is this one. This is from Japan Home, and it's a really good ink, although this is not black. The pad looks black, but when you stamp it, it's dark gray. But this is super cheap. You buy this as a set of 3. You get this one, this black one, a light gray, and the white one, and it's just 66 pesos. So if you divide that by 3, you're like 22 pesos for just one ink pad, which is super good deal. It's a super good deal. Next is Ranger Archival ink. I don't use this as much because it tends to stain my clear stamps and I can't remove them, and it's annoying me, to be honest. It's just, I don't know why they are so hard to remove. But this one, a lot of people use this because of its archival property, meaning it doesn't fade. It doesn't fade. So, or it takes a long time for it to fade. Versacolor fades when it's exposed to light. So there. So if you want something to be there for posterity, this one is good. I haven't used this in my journal, so I haven't observed it, how well it is with compared to VersaFine in terms of journaling. So, but later let's test that out. And then lastly is this Stress ink. This is a different kind of ink where this one acts differently towards water, but also this is not really made for stamping. You can stamp with it, but it's not really for stamping. You can use this, or people usually use this for stenciling or for making backgrounds for blending. Okay, so with that, oh, where to buy these things, I forgot. So all of these you can buy from, I forgot to mention a while ago, or maybe I already did, you can buy these from Be Happy or Lasting Impressions. For sure they have it. The Yellow Violet House carries Ranger Archival ink. Some Gurdos sell Ranger Archival ink, and I got this one specifically from the Yellow Violet House. I got it as a pack of 4, so there are 4 different colors. And so this is the mini one. They have Ranger Archival ink as a full ink pad, kind of like this size, but it looks different because this is a different brand. This is Ranger. And then, so all of these are available in most craft stores, I think. Oh, for Versacolor, VersaCraft, and VersaFine, I think also Craft Carrot carries this, and also, what's her name, Crafty Lane, I think also carries these, because these are Japanese brands. Tsukineko is a Japanese brand, so they probably carry that too. This one is like, I forgot exactly how much. This would probably range for 150 to 300 bucks. This is around 275 to 350 bucks. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I got this a set of 4 for like 400 to 600 bucks. I can't remember, I'm sorry, but it's around that price. So there. So I want you guys to see a side by side of the inks. So this is how we're gonna do it. I have here some rubber stamps and some clear stamps, and we're gonna stamp these. We're gonna stamp these on paper so you can see the difference of the different ink pads. So let me just get a spare piece of paper. Okay, if we have time, we can also do some stenciling. I hope we do have time for that. But for now, let's do this. So I won't be able to test Brilliance because, again, my ink pad is just so bad. I won't test this on my clear stamps because I don't want my clear stamps to be permanently stained with the black ink, because if I do, I can't see it if I'm inking it properly or not, and that's one of the features that I love about clear stamps. I can see if I haven't inked the portion of it or not. If I stamp it, it stays on and it's a permanent stain, it's a little hard to find that out. So anyway, let's start with the rubber stamps so we can get this out of the way. Which one's the smallest? Let's get this coffee. Okay. So this one stamps on. So let's try the Best Buy one first. Oh, this one's dried out. So let's squish. This one's a little dried out. So I have to push hard. Stamp. So there. It's actually nice. You know, the thing about rubber stamps is that they usually stamp really well. Okay, so let's clean that out and dry it so that it's ready for the next ink. Now let's label this. My Staz is also a little dried out because again I've had this for like 5 years now. So I need to buy a re-inker for this. Okay. So it's a little dry. So it's not as black as I want it to be. Let's see how it's permanently stains. So there. That would do. Okay. And then next is, let's try this Memento. I usually stamp on like this. I put the pad on my stamped image or my stamp so that I can see if I've properly inked it or not. So I put there almost dried out because I want to remember. I want to take note that it is almost dried out. Okay, and then next is, let's do the Archival ink. So there, off the bat, I can see that I like Ranger better, but then again, see how hard to remove that ink is. Ran out of stamp cleaner. Starting to think Ranger Archival is like stays on. Anyway, so it's really hard to take out. But let's just dry that, and then let's go with VersaFine. I didn't stamp really good, but I just really like the black of VersaFine. It's like a warm black. Ranger is like a blue black, bluish black. And then let's go for VersaColor. Okay, and then VersaCraft. See, I told you it's gray. This is Japan Home. And this is not because there's not a lot of ink. It's just really, the color's just really muted. Because it's a fresh ink pad. And then Distress. There. And then next is I want to do a more a darker, like, or something that has more opaque areas or more surface areas. So let's do this stamp. So let's do it in the same order. So that is NBS Best Buy, and it's just, I really don't like the color. Okay, and then next is Stays On. It's a nice, so this one's ink really well compared to that one. Next is Memento. And then next is Ranger Archival. And then next is Versafine. Notice how this one, you can see more of the white space. That's how it is with Versafine. That's how crisp it is. And then next is Versacolor. And then Versacraft. And last, oh no, not last, Japan Home. Oh man, you see how that sticks. And then last is Distress Ink. Just wipe this really well. So there. I'll do a close-up in a while. But this is your rubber stamps. So next, let's do a clear stamp. I think I want to use this one, which has thin and thick lines. Okay, so again, I'm not gonna use my Stays On because I don't want to permanently stain this.
Hi, Nana, we're home.
Hi, took a bath?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Stamping.
I want to stamp too.
Later.
Oh, it's okay.
So this is the clear stamps and how it performed on, well, this is what do you call this, photopolymer. I should get a, what do you call this, acrylic one, so you can see it too. Let me just grab another sheet of paper. Here. And let's grab something. So let's just use this. This is a generic China stamp. Okay. We're starting with Best Buy. It's not really clinging. So you see with the ink, it also varies. Like this one's super watery. This one actually adhered better. So there. So you can see from this one, the best stamp to use are actually these three. You can read destination really well, especially here in VersaCraft. Although I think this is because I inked this a little harder than VersaFine. You can actually confirm that, because I know for a fact that VersaFine would be like the best ink for this. There you go. This is because I inked this really hard, and then the rest of them were just lightly inked. Very lightly inked. So there. So overall, here are the other ones. So for rubber stamp, you can just really choose which one you like the best. They all stamp almost at the same quality. It's because rubber stamp is very easy to use, and the ink really sticks to the stamp, so it's super nice to look at. So these are your rubber stamps. I think out of all of them here, just looking at it here, I think I like Ranger Archival and VersaFine the best with stamping, using this rubber stamp with fine details. They are really good. But for like a very opaque space, I really like StazOn and VersaFine the best. And you can see how big those lines are. So there. And then here you have your photopolymer stamp. I think I made a mess with this Ranger Archival, but just looking at the parts that are stamped well, I really like how this looks like. And also VersaFine and VersaColor, I really like how they look like. I was surprised with Distress ink. I didn't realize that Distress ink really looks nice on photopolymer. It does give a distressed vibe, but well, that's the nature of the stamp itself, but also because it's just really nice. And then lastly, on our what do you call this, acrylic, which is the cheapest kind of stamp available, you can see how NBS Best Buy just really sucked here. And I think my problem with the Japan Home ink is that my ink pad is a little old, so probably doesn't have that much juice in it. See, so there. I'm gonna try this one again. I'm gonna get a fresh pad, but judging from just not this one, because this one is stamped really carefully and the rest weren't, I still like VersaFine, VersaColor, and VersaCraft more than the others. It's just really better. I don't like the color of this Ranger Archival, to be honest, but it does the job as well. But the thing is, it stains my clear stamps, so I don't like using it for my clear stamps. So it's like, nah. These ones are easy to clean from the clear stamps, so there. So if you're gonna ask me what you're gonna use for your journal, for journaling, for bullet journaling, I would really recommend these two. VersaCraft is the easiest to get. If you can get it, just go ahead. Just be careful when you tap it. Mine is a little dried out, so I have to tap a little harder than I usually do. But if it's a brand new pad, you have to be really careful when inking your stamps, because it's really juicy. But for me, these two hands down are the best ones to use for your journal. This one, you have to have a separate paper, stamp it on a separate piece of paper, and then just stick it onto your journal, because there is an oil like an oil ring around it, and it's just annoying. And if you write on behind it, it just sucks. And then it's okay to get Memento. It's not that bad. The thing is, if Memento had a cube, I would buy it, but the small ink version of this is this one. well, this is a chalk ink, but it's this shape. It's like a teardrop, so it's not very portable for me. But if it came in the like this, I would definitely go for Memento, because this one is fade resistant. So there, this one is really good. It's just that it stains so much, and I hate staining. So there. So I hope you learned something from this video. I will do a part 2 of this where I will write behind it and also run a swab of water and a swab of alcohol across them, so you can see how the different liquids affect the paper, the ink, and also how it is to write behind them. But since I have more experience with these 3 inks, I am highly recommending these inks. And also, if you look internationally, these 3 inks are also very much used for journaling compared to the other brands and the other kinds of inks. So there. Let me know in the comments if you have any of these, or if you know other shops that you can get these from. Let me know. Let us know in the comments so that other people can also find them. If you're selling them, let us know your page so we can visit you. I will link down below the stores or the pages, Facebook pages that I got these ink pads that I have. And I will see you next time. Bye!